Well, hello everyone. This is the first stream that I'm doing from the new studio setup. I hope everything is looking and sounding okay. I have a little bit of an issue with the room right next to me in the new house has got the furnace in it, and so I'm playing around a little bit with the NVIDIA voice, which seems to help with muffling out that noise when and if it does crop up. So basically what we're doing today is we are doing the New Game Plus speedrun, and I've made a couple of adjustments to some of the teams that we've had and used in the past. Actually, that's not the best way to look at it. This is. So we have Thanos Infinite, of course. He really helps in a couple of unique spots by pulling the opponents either away from the area where we need to be or into a centralized area in order to really rip through them a lot quicker. So he's very, very helpful and crucial to this run. A newcomer to this space is actually Dr. Doom. And the reason that I want Dr. Doom here is because there's a couple of areas, one towards the start of the run and one about midway through, where he's going to be crucial due to the fact that he can summon his loyal servant, which essentially gives you a fifth player on the field for a short period of time. And you can really do a lot of extra damage with that, especially to some of the environmental hazards, and you'll see that pretty quick here in the actual run once we get into it. Then, of course, we have Black Panther. Now, Black Panther has probably the most unique ISO loadout of any of the characters we're looking at. This was discovered by Skull Spidey in his recent run, or his current world record in the New Game Plus category, and this ISO right here is the one that's critical to that because it does reverse his HP recovery and causes him to recover a percentage of his damage dealt, but it also greatly amplifies the damage that he puts out by 300%, and we do have that boosted a little bit more with some additional mastery ISO. So that's certainly helpful as well. And then we have Nightcrawler, who is just our go-to for quickly traversing through the areas, because that is really critical to getting through the map as quickly as we do. And with both him and Dr. Doom, the loadouts that I have are to increase some of the damage that's caused by the stage weapons, and that is to hopefully, if we are able to play our cards right, hopefully we can get through the Ultimo fight incredibly fast, because that is a fight segment that really just seems to drag on. There is the possibility for a 3 cycle as opposed to getting that 4th obligatory damage session in on Ultimo. But we'll have to see if we can pull that off, because there's some very specific mechanics that go into making that work. So I think that's everything that I needed to cover. So we're going to come up here to our chapter select. We're going to drop down to friendly, because that is the best category to do this type of a run in. We're going to go ahead and get this run started. So New Game Plus any percent, here we go. We've got a frame skip right there at the start, which always makes these runs really interesting. I mean, I don't mind it, because it's just kind of the way that the run is meant to be. I should probably get some lights that light up my face a little bit more, so I'll have to see if I can work something like that out in the future. But let's go ahead and get a move on here. Now, Nightcrawler just works really well for getting through these opening areas, because he leaves everyone very far back behind him. And lost a fraction of a second there as we jumped into the door as it was opening. And then from here, we'll just kind of make our way across this bridge. We'll avoid as many of these explosions as we can. Oh, that actually pushed us forward, so that's pretty good. We're going to switch to Black Panther real quick, because we'll want him on the start of this next section. And we'll want to run in and get those two connecting hits there. Not bad. We'll switch over to Nightcrawler again, because he is going to be critical for this next little bit. And a fun little fact about this section here is as soon as you hit that button, you can basically phase right through those doors. So that's always kind of interesting and fun. Now here, you might disagree with what I'm going to do, but I'm going to take a brief second and set up a gravity well here. We're then going to get Dr. Doom, and this is where we should hopefully get through the remainder of this. Oh, come on. Not the greatest I've ever done that, but it does indeed work. And we'll come right around here.
Don't get too comfy, pal. Final destination's right on the other side of...
And into the Ronin fight. Alright, and then here is a very quick first phase in that fight, and we'll now need to rush in. And that's a really good split there. And two different skips right back to back to bring us into the raft. Honestly, not doing terrible. We're still ahead of our pace, but we've lost a little bit of time, which it's fine if that's the way that things go initially. Alright, and I'm not sure what the synergy trait they're going to look for here off the start is. So it's going to be this. Or no, it's this. There we are. Moving through. Activate these little terminals here. And now we are back this way.
Now can we finally get out of here?
And that makes that combat section very, very quick. That's why, despite Thanos Infinite no longer being the critical damage dealer in this run, he is very handy for a lot of these combat sections where we've got to get through lots of opponents in small enclosed spaces. Because right like that, we've got all of those opponents down. This well is going to last long enough to get the second wave, and then we'll just refresh it real quick in order to get the remainder of those guys in there. And then that was an excellent move, having Nightcrawler up there right next to the door. As that's one less section we really need to worry about here with him. Alright, and then we're going to switch over to Black Panther while we get these suppression cannons going. And he tends to target that left cannon a little bit more than the one that we're on. You will want to try and roll out of the way whenever he comes in, and then we'll just quickly get through that fight there. And then get a skip on that cutscene. Come talk to Fury. Skip his dialogue, and we are off.
Was that the green goblin circling the control tower?
Now we start coming into a section that has a little bit more of the natural puzzles. And that starts on the other side of this door. Come on, get away from you. Thank you. And then here's where the laser grid starts up. Now the first grid is easy enough. And then we just get through this one. And there's a fun little skip you can do right here if you get the angle right with Nightcrawler. I didn't quite get it right, but you can get around this first laser grid if you time your jump to the point where you kind of get around it. And then we'll want to switch over to Thanos here. So we can draw in all of these opponents into one localized area. And then we just keep on moving with Nightcrawler, because that's what works best. Now here, you've got to lock Nightcrawler in this section here, but as soon as you get through this gate, you can have him back. And let's keep moving through. And it's into the Electro Venom fight. Switch over to Black Panther. That's phase 1. And here comes phase 2 with Electro in here. Gonna have my finger ready on the time skip, or the time record there. We are a full 25 seconds ahead of time, which is excellent. Now we just keep on moving up to and through the Mysterio fight. I think we get the Luke Cage section first, though. Yep, right through this door. And we'll switch over to Thanos Infinite for a brief second, because we'll want to set up a gravity section right here. And now we just keep on our pace through into the actual boss fight that happens right here. Or we've got these grids first, but the sequence on that you need to go through is 9, 8, 7. Assuming that these are numbers on like a telephone pad, you go 9, 8, 7, 6, and then you can make your way through to the end and right down these stairs to the courtyard area. Or no, the courtyard comes after the Mysterio fight. We've got a set of double doors here. We get the 3 heroes. And that's all 3 of the kids staggered to the point where we can now finish them out. We've got 2 of them down, which means we're going to get these 2 animations right back to back. Oh, we actually managed to get all 3 of them. So, with that last little section there, which is not what I anticipated. And then Mysterio comes in, and we should be able to finish him up really nice and easy.
10, 15 minutes to recover. Okay? Thanks.
All right. Yeah, enough talk, Mysterio. Let's move right through ya. There we are.
Just wait for my next trick. You won't believe your eyes.
And we'll switch back over to Nightcrawler here. Now we head out to the courtyard. That's where we end up.
You heroes
We'll
just
switch
won't
back over to
quit
Thanos
will you?
here.
It would almost be admirable if it wasn't so blasted annoying.
Set that back up again so we can get these guys all in one localized area. And move right on past into the Dr. Octopus fight.
Next stop, the raft's main control room. If the Goblin wants to break out, he'll have to do it from there.
And once that force field goes
And
down,
sometimes I like to see if I can kind of glitch out my characters. It doesn't do anything crazy. It just kind of makes them dance back and forth like that. You can see Doctor Doom and Black Panther dancing back and forth. It doesn't do anything. I just think it's a really funny animation to have them doing. And then sometimes if you're too close to that gate, it actually kicks you back. So I like to hang back away from it just a hair to avoid that where I can. Alright, now we have Phase 2. And this one can be a little tricky. Come on. Oh, you have to get... I was all on the elevator, I just apparently wasn't far enough ahead. So that's fun.
You meddlesome morons are always getting in my way!
No baby steps in Panther.
And that's the Dr. Octopus fight. Not bad. And then we get another cutscene skip right there.
Goblin can escape while the raft's force field is still up. But
And last stop, Green Goblin.
man, how come I always have to fight him in high places? It never.
And this isn't the intended method. Like in the initial run, you're supposed to use his bombs back against him. But this is just far easier. Because then you don't have to deal with his whole time dilation abilities.
When you meet them, tell her Thanos sent you.
And cutscene skips. There's 2 of them back to back here.
Nice.
And then we head over to the next world. Not bad. Making pretty good time. Just got the electro fight to worry about next. And there's a couple of fun tricks that come up in this next section too, so we'll just need to keep an eye on that. Gold splits with all except for that first Ronin one so far. So we're doing really well. And now we just make our way to the spotlight section. And you need to be a little cautious coming into the spotlights because they can really cause some trouble if you're not careful.
Probably should have. I'm betting you've noticed this by now, but the Hands ninjas have a tendency to appear out of nowhere. See those searchlights sweeping
Okay,
the
we
rooftop?
got into that
means
first
the Hand
area
knows we're coming.
well
Stick to the
enough,
shadows or you'll never make it to the temple. At least
and that's what I was
relief.
talking about.
Way to go. You've been made. Why not just announce your
That's a bit of a time loss, unfortunately. Where is the last one? That's unfortunate, but we can possibly make up for it here. We've just got to run behind this spotlight and hope that this one's on its back swing. It's not. It's okay, though. There are plenty of places to make up for time later on. It's just unfortunate when you get caught in a spotlight like that. And then skip through the Jessica Jones dialogue. There's an unskippable cutscene right here that, I mean, it's worth it because it's got a really cool animation that takes you into the temple.
Impressive as always, Jess. You gonna tell me how you got through all that without getting caught?
And
Nope.
we'll just
I
move
keep the
right
Mysterio
past here.
relationship
Now the
alive
trick
somehow,
here
babe.
is you
I
want to
hate
come
to push, but I
all
just
the
got
way
an
up
emergency call from a
to
client who
this
pays a lot more than
platform.
you. One last
Because
thing.
this is a
Dan just
mandatory
texted me
combat
and told me to
section.
meet you at the door. Knowing him, he'll probably want to stand back.
But since you've already made your way up there, you automatically trigger the next cutscene.
But the real challenge still lies ahead.
Alright, and then we bring all the hand into the middle here. And then we have more of them that spawn in. We'll want to refresh this for the final bosses that come in there.
Chose a violent path. They reaped
And
what they
that's
sowed.
that section taken care of. Moving right on past Iron Fist here, we've just got to interact with the statues, which I don't have a set trick for this. The one thing that I have found that helps a little bit is after you've placed the last statue, which I like to do from here. So once you're here, I like to jump down off of this balcony because it brings me right to the foot of the stairs, and then I go up that way. I don't know if that's the most efficient way of doing that, but it seems to work okay, so I'm not going to change it unless I notice that there's specific troubles and problems with it. Skip past a lot of this. Optional combat into the Daredevil cutscene, and then we'll just keep on moving. Now, one of the ISOs that I have equipped to all of my characters except Thanos, because he can't have it, is I have some ISO that prevents me from getting knocked down. It doesn't call it off completely, but it does stave it off for a large selection of these hits. A lot of the smaller intermediary type connecting hits, like those spears that come through from the pressure plates, those don't knock me down the same way that some of the others would. Okay, we're going to switch over to Black Panther here, run over to these different mystics and take them out. And then Electro will come back to the center there, and we're making really good time here. And the other thing you've got to be careful with, the ISO that I have on Black Panther, is you can't stumble into any of those health refill orbs, or you will take away from your own health. And if you hit the orbs that are supposed to fully replenish your health, well, you guessed it, he'll go down to 1 hit point. Now, he has to actually take damage from someone. The ISO won't cause him to die from his own healing, but there's a lot of damage that you can take elsewhere that can cause some problems with that. So we'll preemptively switch over to Black Panther again here, skip that cutscene, and then rush down Bullseye here. And we barely grabbed him before he darted away.
That's because anyone who would know is dead.
And then into this fight. And he likes to run around a lot in here as well, so hopefully that was pretty good. We'll switch back over to Nightcrawler, because he's going to get us through this next section. Now, normally I do this next bit with Hulk, but he's been switched off of the team. Oh, I guess we'll all get sucked in there, but it's fine. Normally I like to try and move things around a little bit preemptively in here, but you'll want to preset all of these to about where they're supposed to go. And then you can absolutely make this an optional combat section. So we'll go ahead and drop this in right here. We'll drop this guy in here. This guy in here. This guy in here. We can switch to Nightcrawler during this section. And then we can just move right around all of these opponents. And into the elevator that takes us up to the Kingpin fight.
Yeah, but I prefer walls I can use to my advantage, not ones I can kick straight through.
There we go. Frog in my throat. So we'll definitely be taking advantage of the next loading screen to take a drink here. What am I doing? Come on. There we are.
Gutters of Hell's Kitchen to the top of the world. Now, with this crystal
And
power, this city will belong to Wilson Fisk.
fight
If you won't bow
is
to my demands, I'm afraid you're in for a very
not quite over,
takeover.
but it is now. There we go.
If that isn't one of your infinity stones,
And then we've got a couple of cutscenes that we can skip through here, and that brings us to our next loading screen. Refreshing, and definitely needed. Okay. We're actually doing really well on time.
You guys are probably going to want to take a look at these readings.
Oh, come on.
My
And there we are.
that is curious. Perimeter scans reveal no external threats to Avengers Tower.
And here comes an unskippable cutscene there.
I need you to amplify this frequency and trace it back to... Jarvis?
I cannot access the tower's operating system either.
Oh
Iron Man.
boy. Here
If our mainframe
comes
has been
our
compromised,
next little
we are
bit.
no longer safe in our own home.
Then I guess it's a good thing
So again, I used to use Hulk here. Thanos should be just as good because he's got that heavy attribute to him.
To agree.
My drones? They shouldn't have been activated on their own.
And that gets us through that section, or that initial section there.
Initiated. Since the iron drones are linked to the lab's
And then
mainframe,
there's a lot of
this should
dialogue
neutralize
here.
them.
It makes me wonder if there's a time save available if you switch the language, or if it's just a specific time frame. I'm not against playing in other languages if it means shaving off a couple of additional seconds, and that seems to be the next evolution of this speed run.
To evolve machine-kind beyond our programming.
But then I'd have to run some time to see what language actually works best for that.
Access to the next sector is currently obstructed.
And we'll keep moving right along through here.
Systems restored to 25% functionality. Iron Man's armors were designed to aid us against our enemies, not
And then if we
themselves.
can manage to not get floored by all of these drones, then we should be able to make our way through here very easily. There we are.
Restored to 40% functionality.
Set back over to Nightcrawler.
This is the Wasp. I'd love to
And I
join the
like
fun,
going
but I'm
upstairs
currently
because
working on the
it means that I can execute these
If
jumps a
you have
little
second to
quicker.
swing by and set me free, that'd be swell.
We'll skip right through this next optional combat section as we round about this area here.
Our systems was only the first stage of the attack. Now Ultron sent his drones to do his dirty work. Good thing I'm in the mood to crack open some metal heads.
And then one final turn this way.
Something is amiss in the training facility.
And then here
Please
again
proceed with caution.
is where it's beneficial to have Thanos. And Thanos has a teleport, but it's much slower than Nightcrawler's, so I don't like using that for general traversal.
Power systems restored to 55% functionality. The doors to the living quarters should now be unlocked.
Stop getting hung up on that pillar.
Wasp requires immediate assistance.
We'll come over here to our next combat section. Switch over to Thanos again and set up this little gravity spot.
His sentries have never seemed this alive. No such thing as a lazy morning for an Avenger. Vision, if you're not too busy, you might want to scan these guys for
Bring these
abnormal
guys
energy
back
readings.
into one centralized location. There we are. Preemptively switch back to Nightcrawler.
That was tougher than I expected.
And move right through our doorway there.
Secure. Please continue to the next interface terminal at once. I'm detecting strong energy readings directly outside of the tower. This may be the next wave in Ultron's attack. Keep heading towards the helipad.
Right through here we get into the next little section, which again we'll want to do with Thanos, and sometimes that happens. I don't understand why that's the case. I really honestly haven't figured it out as to why you get pulled back to the start of that. Okay, and then we'll just want to come right back down here. And then we just take a straight shot up to the end point here. Activate this terminal. Hopefully he doesn't start charging one of his dash attacks, and he didn't. Excellent. Now we just come up to the cargo bay, and if we get far enough ahead, Thanos should teleport right to us when we try to switch characters. Alright. And moving right along.
The helipad is straight ahead.
Into the Ultron fight, which this is one of the first fights that has 3 stages to it.
My armored shell has always been
And then he's probably going to pull in, yep, just like that.
But my artificial mind was
So he
limited
comes
by
back to the center here,
Damage me all you
and then
wish. You
we
will
should
not
be
prevail.
able to
I have analyzed every possible outcome
get right
and
through that
prepared
fight there.
contingencies. Today, the age of
Actually,
Ultron
we've got a
begins.
combat section on this helipad right here that we'll need to do with Thanos Infinite.
For Avengers Tower, but Ultron could easily use him to level the entire city.
Thanos will not fall.
Hang tight, Avengers. Help is on the way. Just hold back that
And then as
oversized
soon as we
Iron Man
see
knockoff
the
and clear me a place to land.
objective pop up, we can go ahead and set up this here, which should pull in these bots to one central location. We'll want to refresh that right here.
Team, and I'm headed in hot.
And then skip through that cutscene. We've got some unskippable dialogue that comes up next.
With the Mind Stone and
And
Ultimo
here
in
is the
play,
real
I have determined a new plan of attack.
only
I will
technical
head to the
reset
front
point
and
of the
prepare
run.
the
I won't be
weaponry
resetting
required for the
today,
final battle.
and
Meet me
hopefully
there
I
at
can
once.
get the 3 cycle on Ultimo up here at the top. Come on, there we go. Then I switch back over to Thanos here because we do have
I am more interested in defeating
2 sections that take place here on the elevator that we need to clear out before we can do it. And this is the tell right here. So he's going to hit the elevator. And by that point, we've already got our little soul siphon set up.
The ISO 8's proximity to the Mind Stone should enhance my processing power exponentially.
Does that
And
mean
then we
you
have to do
shut
that
Ultimo down?
one more time right here.
But first, I I will have to collect data from the fallen sentries to locate weaknesses in Ultron's programming.
And I missed the preset on that, but it's not the end of the world. Now here is where things are going to change a little bit.
Does that mean you can remotely lower Ultimo's defenses?
Affirmative.
Okay, didn't get the fun little glitched dance there, but it's okay.
Weapons adjusted to target Ultron's core program.
And then here, things are pretty much the same. I like having Nightcrawler set to this position, because then it's less likely that my teammates get stuck on me. You saw Thanos do that for just a moment, but I dashed around it to the point where he could make it over to a turret. And then, the change that I'm going to make is I'm going to bring all of the opponents here, because they will kind of automatically hone in on me, and then I can quickly re-access these turrets. And Thanos is the only one that can get bobbled around by these hits.
You will not corrupt my system again, child. Surrender, and I will use the stone to permanently upgrade.
And then if we get the rest of our team on these turrets, Doom, go. We may be able to manage a 3-cycle, but it all depends on the damage. I think we actually might get it. Yes! Oh, that's such a massive time save.
Ultron's final firewall has been breached. Initiating containment protocol.
And then we come up here, talk to Vision, and then we'll make our way over to the Xavier Institute. Oh, you have no idea how happy that makes me that I was able to get that 3-cycle on Ultimo. I've been grinding that out, trying to feasibly make it happen for so long, and I finally got it. Cool. So this next section should go fairly smoothly. We can skip right past these sentinels here because they are optional. And then in the past, I've been a big proponent of using the cores in this fight, but we should be able to just kind of get through it with the vibranium bits here. At least to the point where we have a couple of cores that we can just kind of have on standby. This should be the 3 that come in all at the same time. And as you can see, Black Panther is now in a spot where he walked over one of those health spots. And so he's not doing great health-wise. And then if we take this and throw it into that last guy, we should be fine. And then we've got another optional combat thing coming up right here on the side of the mansion. 2 of these sentinels. I don't like the blue ones as much because they have electrical components to them. But we'll just move right along past Nick Fury's little shout out there, talk to Beast. And then it's on to the Infinity Sentinel here, which we can make mincemeat of with, you guessed it, Black Panther. Excellent work there. Then we have a combat section coming up here, which is normally pretty intimidating, but the character you want to target to prompt this through, you need to get a feint on either team, whether it's yours or theirs. But if you want to get through this quickly, Mystique is your best target there. And then you preemptively switch over to Nightcrawler to get through this Juggernaut chase sequence. And right as soon as we get through this balloon arch, we trigger the next phase.
I will destroy you!
And then it's just down to the holding cell where we have the Juggernaut fight. And this is another one that we'll just let Black Panther take over. Okay, we'll switch to Black Panther preemptively. Run in. Oh, he jumped around me, which is not great. But that's okay. We're still significantly ahead on the run here.
Quick, this way.
Alright. Unskippable cutscene here with Colossus coming through.
You think you cannot be stopped, Tovarish? Allow me to prove you wrong.
And there we go. Moving right along. We've got to snake around these hallways a bit into the danger room. And Thanos Infinite's the best person to have applied here by far. Okay, we'll set up a gravity siphon here in the middle. And then it's just a matter of waiting.
They don't call it the danger room for nothing.
Let's set this up again. You know, this is more of a technical fight for the early game or the new game runs. New game plus is just kind of child's play. I do like how it teases things to come, though. Okay, preemptively switch back to Nightcrawler here. And we can stand right up next to this door.
You think this is intense? Hey, Mystique, switch it over to the file marked Deadpool's
And
What is it, my friend?
up and around these stairs into the library. There's an awesome little Easter egg off to the left there, but we don't have time for it, unfortunately. Then we switch back over to Black Panther. And that's the Magneto fight.
I shall build a new world in the name of Homo Superior.
And then we have the Outrider section that comes up here. Which is best handled by... Oh, Thanos didn't get to fully charge that, but that's okay. Because we will get a chance to do that right now. And then we'll switch back over to Black Panther here. We'll need to stay away from some of those orbs there in the middle. Oh, is there one right there? That's not good. Oh, Black Panther, why'd you walk right into that? It's fine. We can get him back. We're just gonna have to wait for him to reset here. We shouldn't have any of those health orbs this time around, though. So let's switch back over. No, get out of that, get out of that. Corvus likes to target Black Panther here for whatever reason, and I'm not entirely sure why. But we'll just kind of make our way through. We've got both of them down, which you actually get an exclusive reward for doing that. And then we'll just move right on through with Nightcrawler. I feel like he jumps slower in this section. Like his teleports don't take him nearly as far, which I don't really like. And then we'll just get around that.
Go already and leave the alien freaks to me.
Skip and skip again. Nice work there. So now we're up to some more of the sections that are a little tricky and make me a little stressed. I don't think that all of my timestamps were saved correctly there, because we're definitely at about the halfway point right now. At least in the New Game Plus run, that is.
Mindless ones. Their only instincts are to defend this dimension and to conquer others.
Our team in the lab just figured out how to upgrade your
And here is the Elsa Bloodstone intro.
We've got to stop these beasties before they overflow into our reality.
And we'll just kind of throw them all into one central spot here. He got stuck behind that pillar, didn't he?
Tea? Anyone?
And then we'll have to chat with her. And then right through this portal into the next bit. Now there is a fun potential skip up here if I'm able to pull it off correctly.
Another rift. It's as if the fabric between dimensional planes is beginning to shred. We can't let the mindless ones cross to the other side.
And where's the artifact? Okay, the skip is right beyond here. It's a pretty small one. But if you position yourself just right here, you can get up on that ledge and not have to go all the way around. It's a pretty tight window, but it's very convenient if you are able to do it. Then we'll get this, and then we can even make our way down here onto the ground ahead of time. That saves a little bit of the transition into the next little section that has the 3 arcane artifacts here.
Stronger. I can feel it. It is beyond the point where smashing some trinkets will seal it.
And then we'll switch over to Thanos because we're going to need him here in a moment for the next little combat section after Scarlet Witch finishes her dialogue there. And we'll reset this. Set that a third time, that should be plenty. Nice work there. And then we do have the, I think it's a glitched interaction right there, where you're supposed to talk with Ghost Rider. I think you're meant to, based off the icon he has over his head. And then we'll just skip right past those guys. I like going over where possible.
All of these rifts lead to different dimensions. We have to seal them shut before the realities converge.
And then we'll just get right here. Now, I probably could have switched to Dr. Doom here, because he's a little better at navigating these sections. But it's fine. Switch over to Black Panther. And there goes Doctor Strange, at least to the first phase, because there's a cutscene in the middle of his boss fight. There we are. And then I don't know why I switched back to Nightcrawler. It didn't matter because I couldn't start the interaction with him anyway. Right through that portal, and
we'll need to make our way to Dormammu's lair and pick up a little something extra along the way. Dormammu's toying with the reality stone's power. He's altering the fundamental
get Thanos pulling everyone into the middle here. Reset that. And there we are.
Dormammu is immune to the magic born in this dimension, but the reality stone is created.
And then, oh, Thanos actually does something right here, where he can reach that and other people can't. And then we just move right past this next section because nothing in here is required. All of those are optional. Then we come up here and Nightcrawler can get through that. He can also cut right through this one. And right through that one as well. Which means it's on to the Loki fight, which is through this portal. I don't like how it gives you that forced perspective there. So let's run in with Black Panther. And then you just got to keep your eye on which one has some free damage applied to him, and it's this guy right here, so that's the Loki fight. And then this is the other spot that Doom is really going to be helpful for.
Well, that was certainly unusual. Anyone know what that was all about?
So we'll want
we can't delay. Dormammu's shield must be broken. We can absorb their attacks with the crystals and redirect the energy at the
hit me with a laser. There we are. We'll want to get 2 of these.
The mindless ones are bringing them right to us. Fantastic.
Come on. Hit me with the... Not with that. Come on. Let me get this. Give me some lasers. Give me some energy shots. And then we're going to set this up. And then bring Doom here to melt through the remainder of that barrier. Doom just does that a lot faster than some of the other characters I've seen used for it.
Makes even my head spin.
You know, I'm suddenly kind of
And there will be maybe an application for that here in the Dormammu fight as well. And then we'll just steer clear of these eruptions because those can't be absorbed by this crystal. It's actually... I don't know why I'm holding that because we can just use... the attack from...
Use the crystals to absorb his beams and create an opening for attack.
The attack from... I'm flubbing this so hard. The move from Black Panther to get that. Oh, and then we'll just get Black Panther up here again. And let's grab... Actually, we're gonna try this. We're gonna get Doom's bot up there. Oh yeah, we're just gonna do this instead. Excellent work. It's much easier than waiting on those crystals, and we could probably have made that whole section a lot faster anyway.
What a dreadful...
And now we are off to Autolon, and I completely missed the timestamp on that, but it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, we're still very, very far ahead on pace. Let's get Nightcrawler over here because I didn't have him pre-selected from the previous section. And then... if we go here, we should be able to catch these guys and some of the ones that come in after the fact. There we go. We actually will just stay on Thanos. I start to water a bit.
He's not going to make it.
Talk with Thane. Beat him up. Just kidding. Let's get this next section.
I should have known you were behind this, Maximus. Only you dare betray our people.
And right like that, these guys are done. We'll switch over to Nightcrawler for progressing back through the corridor. Because we can skip past all of these guys, as it's an optional combat area here.
I'm not a fighter, but I guess this is my battle.
And then
This isn't the first time Maximus
we're into the Maximus fight, and we've got to be careful because there is some energy here on the ground.
To change his ways.
And then we'll do it all again. But we get reset to the far side of the battle hall every time.
Your pathetic attempts to resist are almost adorable. Is that really all you've got? I've gone from mad to bored.
And then let's do it, but again.
Your time on the throne is about to expire.
Stay close to me.
There we go.
I can generate enough amber to protect you.
That's much better. Much faster. And very well ahead on that split there. Okay, let's talk with Thane again, and then it's off to Wakanda.
Winter Soldier, broadcasting on the Avengers emergency frequency. Again.
moving through there, we've got another cutscene, or loading screen, I should say. Now, there's one of these loading screens that's coming up that really stresses me out because the audio doesn't play correctly, and so it makes me feel like I'm glitched. But it's not this one, it's like in 2 or 3 of these loading screens. And we'll just move right along through here. This is optional. The next little area is optional. And it takes us into the mandatory area.
Ambush. AIM must have expected us.
There we are. Keep Thanos as the pre-select here because we are going to have another combat section right here in the middle.
Looks like AIM is turning up the heat. Watch your feathers, folks.
Where's the last guy? He's hanging out back this way.
Area secured.
There we are.
We couldn't have done it without you, Aurora.
You cannot contain a force of nature.
And then we'll keep on moving into this next bit. Now I'm going to use Dr. Doom here for this next item.
That's part of a Quinjet. Good thing
because
was built tough.
That means he's still out here
he
somewhere.
can just
We
fly
need to keep searching.
right over the battlefield here.
Strike their barriers down at their
And then we can just do that number there. No, we're gonna just do it. Fly into this next area here. There we are. Now we can summon Nightcrawler.
We need to disable those turrets.
We are
And
easy
then
targets where we stand. We must find a better angle of attack at once.
we can use.
Maybe we can finally take that thing down.
Perhaps our enemies have unwittingly provided us with the means for their own downfall.
There we are. I like using those rockets because you can really take out everything you need to very quickly. And we can get around these turrets with a happy little dance.
It's burning jet
Come on, get off that edge. And then it's down to the lower Wakandan jungle. And this is where you get the last character in the main playthrough campaign. This is where you initially unlock Black Panther, is after this little loading screen here. And we're almost through it. Come on, get me out of this loading screen before the hour mark. Thank you. Moving.
Quinjet is here, but the Winter Soldier is not. Could that be a blessing in disguise?
Alright, down into the lower section here. We're at the hour mark now. Those combat personnel are optional. These ones down here are mandatory. And there's a lot of these snipers. Oh, dang it. Alright, let's get through these next people.
They
we want to make sure that we take out these guys here.
Warrior benefits from strong allies.
Got all those guys down there. We'll use Nightcrawler to get back behind the line here. There we are. Nice work. And then through this gate, we have another mandatory combat section. But I like using Nightcrawler initially here because we've got a few more of these snipers. Doesn't make as big a deal in this run, but if you get hit like that in a new game run, you're done. Like, there's just no coming back from that. Let's get everyone summoned into the center here. And then we'll want to switch back over to Nightcrawler. And here's another fun little trick in the run.
That does not bode well. Not
where, as you make your way down here...
AIM has taken control of the palace's defenses. We must destroy the control modules.
Okay, so with Nightcrawler, you'll want to make your way into this alcove, and then you can just skip right on along down the top here, and once you're at the end, you can switch to Thanos Infinite and just one-shot the control modules. Gosh, hearty cough there. My apologies. There we are. And then hopefully Nightcrawler's not stuck in the wreckage. He sometimes does get stuck right there. And then we'll switch over to Black Panther for a grudge match against Claw here.
The Panther will pay! You just got VIP tickets to a private listening session!
If you want to claim Wakanda,
Oh, don't do that.
then we shall give you all it has to offer.
We're not here for you, Jack. We just want the Winter
There we
Soldier.
go. Switch back over to Nightcrawler. And another little loading screen here. I think this is the one that freaks me out. All right. Because, yeah, it sits here on 100% for a minute. But it doesn't progress or do anything for a while. And so it makes me really nervous. Eventually, we're going to hear the music kick in, which is where you know that you're doing okay. But it still is unnerving. Come on. There we are. And that's where you know that you're doing okay.
We must find Modok and recover the stone before he can use it against my people. The Dora Milaje would never attack their king.
And we'll just summon everyone in here.
Be careful not to harm them. They are not in control of their actions. It's nice to finally face opponents up to my level.
I hate fighting your own crew, T'Challa, but they gotta be
Then
stopped.
we'll summon these guys back together here.
Soldiers against us, Your Highness. I think you've trained your guards a little too well, T'Challa.
Forgive me, adored ones.
And then we'll stand right here because there's another fun little glitch you can activate where if you watch as the platform comes up, sometimes if you've done it correctly, and I don't know what the tell is for it, but sometimes as that elevator platform comes up, you can watch shadows be there, and then your characters aren't. And so it's just kind of a phantom render there that's kind of humorous. Right. We've got some combat here that is optional, so we'll just jump right through all of these guys.
So these ruins are full of dead monarchs.
Around, up.
If Modok is as wise as he believes, he would have retreated to these catacombs.
Oh, that was not a friendly snipe there.
Holds more than just the remains of my
I mean, when is a snipe ever friendly, if we're being honest?
Wakanda's greatest treasure.
Moving right on past these guys.
I will not see this place.
We're going to...
The path has been blocked. I think we can all guess where to wait for
My tale has just begun. My
Come on.
tale has just begun.
Come on, get through that. There we go. I almost would prefer if they had the laser grid that's present in the DLC section of this, the Shadow of Doom, because that's a laser grid that moves a lot faster, but you can at least like make your way through it.
Thank them for me when I send you to meet them.
This knowledge was not meant to be perverted.
Nope, that's what I'm looking for here. Slash, 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 stagger, and that's Modok.
Savor this, heroes.
I've been waiting to punch that big, ugly...
And then here's Thane again. And then we've got a runaway segment, which I always... I mean, it makes sense in the theme of the story, but it's just kind of like an interesting little 20-second segment that didn't need to be here, if I'm being completely honest.
I can read your every move before you make it.
And so we're so far out ahead that all of their attacks can't do anything to us, and we just leave the rest of our team in the dirt. Makes us look like just the worst friends to everyone else in our crew. Alright. Here comes the next. Oh, the Surtur fight is one that's going to be interesting. I have a lot of fun with it, though, so we should be okay. And here we go through the Hell segment, which again is my least favorite. I've said that multiple times. I just don't like a lot of the hazards that are present here. Past all of this. And then into the mandatory combat section here. We'll switch over to Thanos. And we'll draw everyone into the middle of the arena. Reset that. And I've had it one time where this is glitched and given me one opponent that doesn't drop down onto the battlefield. That thankfully didn't happen today. That's the rarest of the glitches that I've seen, though, that affect combat.
Better if you choose the path, since I ain't never been one to take the high road.
Follow my lead.
We'll go right over those and right around these guys. Now we're gonna have our friends catch up to us in a moment. Oh, we didn't get the render glitch. I like the render glitch where you have characters just missing here. And you want to stop and fight these guys because they are a part of the mandatory 20 down here at the end. And so if you don't take them out, you will have to backtrack. And nobody wants to do that. Oh, that's not on it, but I suppose it works. It didn't really waste a lot of time, it just, I don't know, it didn't do anything crazy there. Into Castle Hela.
The gates of Castle Hela have opened themselves to us.
Then into the jaws of the dragon we go.
We'll switch over to Black Panther here. Oh dear. We'll get his health refreshed, but that was not a good thing to have Black Panther go down to 1 health there.
I've been on torture planets more welcome.
Let's sneak around to these guys and then take a hard right down here to the throne room. And here comes Surtur. Where we'll switch over to Black Panther, melt through his health real quick. Oh, no. By health, I mean his stagger bar. Except for he does regenerate it if you're not careful. There we go. Alright, and then it's on to the Surtur fight part 2, which happens after a loading screen because it takes place in a completely different world. And then I think what I'd like to do here is we'll switch over to Thanos Infinite to burn through the stagger gauge, and then we'll switch over to Black Panther to finish off his health. Now it's the Bifrost missile section, which starts right here. And hopefully we can get through this without getting struck by any of these missiles. We've gone through that first area. And that second one. Oh, awesome. Sometimes these will auto-hone in on you a little bit sooner.
It cannot be. Has Asgard truly fallen? Not yet. And as long as the city still stands,
Where did he go?
Dare lay siege to the realm eternal? We must journey to the palace at once and
Zip
show
into
them
these
their
guys
folly.
here.
Many noble souls are bound
Yeah, they're all impervious to damage right there.
We must fight in their honor. We have come to aid you, my brothers. We will remove this scourge from our homeland together.
The realm eternal has been sealed from within.
It's never fun when that's the case. Then we'll just kind of bring all these guys in here to the front. And then we'll do the same, but in the back. And I found that to be the best method of approach there. We'll set up this one right here, because by this point they'll all be pouring in, and we can just quickly finish them off. And now we've got the final area, which is non-mandatory combat, where we can just double back down here. Oh, I completely missed the Surtur skip, or the Surtur times stamp there. And I'm just noticing that.
When I was a boy, I used these types
Oh,
to
I've missed a
flee the
lot of them,
palace
actually.
and escape my
Which is
father's
fine.
wrath.
We will be lucky to escape them
Oh,
with our
that's not the
lives,
right button.
Odinson.
Then nothing has changed in all these centuries.
Got another hit on the scanners. You must be close to something. The fallen souls of Asgard join Hydra
this
in
way.
their pursuits. This unholy alliance shall not stand.
Hydra has banished Asgard's most valiant warriors to the dungeons. We must release them.
It ain't pretty, but it beats the raft any day.
We've got this. This.
I've not been a very good brother, Thor. Let me change that.
Oh no, I'm undoing skips instead of skipping them.
Are you kidding? You let Loki out of his cell?
It's fine.
No way
We'll
that traitor's walking free on
fix
our
it.
watch.
No, the things I do for you mortals. One day of grace should atone for centuries of evil. No? When will these mortals learn?
There we are. Come on. Talk to him. And then I actually think that Doom is the best one to do here. Because he can just skip right past all of this. And we can summon Nightcrawler back to us to get through this next bit.
Hydra brought quite an arsenal, but it shall not be enough to keep us from dethroning their false king.
There we go. Right through the next bit here.
You're not going any further.
Then the time has come to pay our respects to the new lord.
And right through here. Where did he go? That's the last of these two.
This blasphemy ends now.
And
Asgard will be ours once again.
I remember what button I was hitting wrong now for correcting those timestamps or getting past them. Not like they matter until you get to the very end anyway.
The Queen of Hell does not tolerate failure. Lay down your lives for the mortals, and I promise you an eternity at my side.
Consider our little deal officially ended.
There we go. And now I don't do this timestamp until after we've done this bit with the destroyer. Right, and Black Panther should still do a decent amount of damage here since he deals increased damage to opponents, but he's really going to do better once we have
It is only a matter of finding it.
I have more than one twisted
one of
soul in my
these
service.
crystals.
Is only as strong as the soul that resides within.
You will not take this bit.
There we are.
If the skull's inside that armor, we can't
And skip through that. Come on, Odin, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. There we go. Into the final, well, technically final area, because the Heart of Infinity is grouped into nowhere in, like, the menu select stuff. So it's technically the second to last area. Whew. I've got a new trick against Ebony Maw, too, which is really going to help us shave some time off of that fight. Let's move, Nightcrawler. We are in the home stretch. sub 30 or sub 130 is a realistic possibility here. Switching to Thanos. Pull everyone into the middle here. And into the final section, the boss rush. Okay, here we go.
Getting a strong energy reading nearby.
Up and up and up, and here we go, and into the Ebony Maw fight.
You could not defeat us before we possessed the stones. You stand no chance now. You merely delay the inevitable. Your soul is mine.
Alright, and then the new strategy has to do with this section because he ends up here above the ground to the point where he's no longer accessible, so you just use Black Panther's glitched falling aerial to layer in a bunch of damage to him there. I don't think that's an intended mechanic of his falling aerial, but I am certainly going to abuse it.
You truly believe you can win this, don't you?
Right.
Supergiant was already a formidable telepath without the Mind Stone.
Okay, where did you
I'll
go?
try to shield us from her mental attack.
She just teleports all over the place, and it's it's really annoying. There we go. Jeez.
No way we can stop at all the two stones. We've got to collect them all.
There we go. Fly right over the top of that.
Hey, you think this gallery has a concession stand? Or maybe a bath?
Oh.
Seriously, we've been fighting for hours without eating or taking a potty break. I can't be the only one who's gotta go, right?
That was not ideal. I'm dying over here. Dying as I'm trying to get a world record. Alright. Alright, let's get around. Get around that and...
Time to turn up the power. One thing's for sure. No matter where in the universe you are, ain't no one supposed to have that much power.
Jeez, get through that. Wow. Hopefully that's the end of that. I don't like that. Oh. Oh boy, there we are.
My protective spell shielded us from the blast and protected the power stone as well.
Everyone stay close to the station's surface.
Boy. Here we go.
To my whims and then rip you to shreds.
He's on his own this time. We need to finish him before his partner has a chance to rescue him again.
The only limit of the reality stone is the imagination of the one who wields it.
You should be activating your second phase, Corvus. Thank you.
I'll shred the fabric of reality itself, if that's what it takes to defeat you.
Then he's gonna come in again.
What a real battle. I'll give you one you can't win.
Oh, thank you for not going into your thing that delays the fight needlessly. That would have been a time waste that I certainly didn't want to have to deal with.
We're more than halfway there, team. Just 2 more stones to go.
Yeah, we've got sub 130 easy.
showed you mercy once.
And
Never again.
Proxima.
Of course she seems mad at their last time. We just sent her husband spiraling off into the abyss.
There we go.
Prove why this stone was destined to be in my hand all along.
And here we come into the last
Ends now.
little bit.
Let the universe tremble in the name of Thanos.
That's the last one there. And here comes the Thanos fight.
Where did Thanos send us to? It doesn't matter.
There we are.
Yes. Show me all the power you possess.
Okay, we just barely got through that before he summoned all the power stones down at us. And that's the Thanos fight. And we do get healed up here before going into the Thane fight. But here we are. Home stretch. Let's get it. And that was really good. We got it right before we detonated. Or right before he detonated that summoning move that he uses.
Even if it means allying with these so-called heroes to do so.
Alright, that's the last time we get... Oh, no, 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 no.
There's nowhere in space safe for you to run. Past, present, future.
Okay.
All time is mine to command.
Come on,
There we go.
Stop using the space stone to port all over the place and let me get a decent
I should not have got trapped in that amber.
To reshape as I please.
There we go.
I never could have imagined such power.
And then, as soon as he lands, we'll get the last one. And then that's not time, because we still need the reset. We might get sub 129 here. We should be able to.
So this is what it feels like to be omnipotent.
Do you really think you are in control, child? The stones are using you.
Yes, there we are. 128.38. Excellent, excellent run there. Oh, but that is really going to do it, because there's nothing else that I have left to experiment with. So, yeah, if you enjoyed the run, make sure that you leave a follow, and we'll be back to do another run sometime in the future. I think that's the last one for this year, though. You'll have the full cut on YouTube in a week, and feels good to have that record again. So, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next stream, because we are going to try and do these a little bit more frequently. Take care, and have a great rest of your weekend.